Okay, so this movie is called The A-Team, and I'm just gonna come right out and say it. It is flat out, no question, one of the best fucking films of all time. You can take your Star Wars, you can take your Citizen Kane, and you can shove them up your ass because this movie has got a flying fucking tank that shoots at planes. And I don't know about you, but that fucking does it for me. I mean, that really is my kind of shit, you know? Okay, we start off, and right off, this fucking film's pacing is amazing. Whoever edited this film deserves a fucking medal because it's awesome. Right, we start off in this shady room with this guy who's been captured by these two guys and they're going to kill him and feed him to the dogs and stuff. But this guy manages to break out, get free of the handcuffs, and tie the two dogs together because this motherfucker is our boy, and he's clearly also someone else's dad. And he's also Zeus and a Jedi because actors are fucking liars. Then we cut over to B.A. Baracus, and yes, I know the actual names of the characters in this movie because one, it's a fucking awesome movie, and two, they helpfully go ahead and throw the person's name up on screen for you. They even pause the movie for you, just in case you're a fucking dumbass and need time to read it. Anyway, BA has one of the most badass introductions in any movie ever, other than the intro to the old man that we just saw, and he beats the shit out of these guys and then, for some reason, chooses to swap out the Lamborghini that he just drove up in for one of the shittest looking vans you've ever seen in your life. Like a fucking dumbass. Okay, so then we cut over to this motherfucker tied up in car tires, and he seems to be having a whale of a time, which is like, I don't know if he knows what generally happens when someone ties you up in car tires, but I wouldn't be looking so fucking happy about it, I can tell you. Anyway, this guy is called Face, I guess because he's very good looking. I mean, I don't happen to be gay, but I can tell just from looking at him that that guy is Bradley Cooper. Anyway, this motherfucker's about to be set alight when someone's dad and the black guy turns up with like cartoon fucking timing. Like it's an episode of Roadrunner and the Coyote or something, and they just start battering people about the place with the van. I mean literally. They use it like a cartoon fucking club, and they rescue Bradley Cooper, and then they all fuck off. But they get chased by the Mexican dog breeders, and then we cut over to this doctor guy, and he is clearly unfucking hinged, and they all think to themselves, hey, this guy who is clearly fucking insane, he'd make a good helicopter pilot. So they all load up into a fucking helicopter and fuck off, and the crazy doctor does some of the most awesome fucking flying you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it's so fucking good even the bad guys are impressed by it. Anyway, then the bad guys eat a face full of rockets and missiles, and I'm guessing the Coyote got fucked again on that one. So like from there, it cuts to 8 years later, and apparently that Mickey Mouse bullshit we just saw is what this bunch of clowns consider to be a successful mission, which gives you some idea of what these fucking Muppets are like. And they've all joined the army or something because they did so well at playing Roadrunner in the fucking desert or whatever, and they decide to go and kill some fucking Iraqis for no good reason whatsoever. And like from there, we meet Jessica Biel, and I can recognise her too because, let's be honest, she's fucking hot. And she's pissed off at Bradley Cooper because he got a paddling pool to cool his feet in and she didn't or whatever. So she tells Cooper to stay the fuck out of Baghdad and to stop killing Iraqis. And like while this is going on, someone's dad meets this fashion designer guy who tells him about this shipment that's going through Baghdad, presumably by some rival fashion designer or something. And then he meets his boss, and his boss tells him to stay the fuck out of Baghdad and to stop killing Iraqis. And then he meets some more fashion designers who tell him to stay the fuck out of Baghdad and to stop killing Iraqis. So like presumably they work for that rival Iraqi fashion designer or whatever. So like, now they've been told to stay out of Baghdad and to stop killing Iraqis by them. Jessica Biel has told them to stay the fuck out of Baghdad and to stop killing fucking Iraqis. And now their boss has told them to stay the fuck out of Baghdad and to stop killing fucking Iraqis. So go ahead, guess what happens next? That's right, you guessed it. Our boys go right ahead and fuck up Baghdad like it's their own personal war or something, killing scores and scores of Iraqis along the way because they've got no fucking conscience whatsoever at all, not now, not ever. Anyway, it turns out they robbed a shitload of money from that Iraqi fashion designer or something, and then like, they decide to celebrate. And they don't go celebrate by going out on a bender or by buying a Lamborghini or something. Oh no. These guys decide to celebrate by blowing the fuck up out of their old boss, and for some reason they seem surprised about it when this gets them in a heap load of shit with the army. And they're all like, hey fuck it, He told us not to go into Baghdad, so we went in anyway and stole a shit ton of cash, and then we blew the motherfucker up. Like, what's the problem? Anyway, the army has got a fucking problem with it. Like a real big fucking problem. And they take away Bradley Cooper's paddling pool and kick them out the army and send them all to prison. And you gotta say, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I agree. You know, I think they overstepped the line there on a number of occasions, but what the hell, it looked fucking cool. But anyway, Bradley Cooper ain't going to stand for them taking away his paddling pool, so somehow, in prison, he gets his hand on a fucking tanning machine because you gotta look your best in the prison showers, I guess, when you're as good looking as him. And you can tell from his physique that he's been doing a lot of push-ups, if you know what I mean. Anyway, they say fuck this bullshit and they break out of prison in a bunch of ways, and I shit you not, one of them is literally just by driving a big ass truck through the wall of a movie theatre, and everyone goes nuts and start clapping. Now, when I did something like that, I got 160 hours community service for that bullshit, and that ain't fucking funny. I don't even like mowing grass. So, like, anyway, when they get out, they've been kicked out of the army and everything, so they decide to go be fashion designers in Madrid or somewhere themselves, because fuck knows why. The movie never tells you, or it might have done. I got no idea, to be honest. I wasn't really listening to it too much. I think it might have been because that fashion guy visited someone's dad in prison and told him about that rich Iraqi fashion designer or whatever, and someone's dad was like, oh yeah, we gotta kill him for sure. He's Iraqi and he's a fashion designer. I mean, what the fuck? Those are like our favourite things to kill. So, like, because now they're fucking wanted men escaped from prison and everything, they got no way of getting to Madrid to start their new fashion careers. So what do? That's right, they jack a fucking plane. And not a passenger plane or something, but a fucking big ass motherfucking plane from the military. I mean, like, they really know how to pick their fights, you know. They're not fucking around. And of course it goes without saying that the army ain't none too fucking pleased with this bunch of fuckweed wannabe fashion designers jacking one of their fucking planes. So they send out these badass tiny little toy remote control planes to go shoot them down. And these mini fucking planes might be only like fucking nothing better than a kid's toy, but they're packing a fuckload of rockets and shit, and they blow the fuck out of our guys and the stolen army plane, and you'd think, well, okay, that's it, end of the movie, you know, there ain't no way no human being could have survived through a huge fucking explosion like that unless they were inside a tank or something. Well, guess what? That's right, our boys have only gone and climbed inside a fucking tank, and this is why I love this movie so much, because they're falling to their deaths, plummeting in a tank from a mid-air explosion, being attacked by drones, and they go on the fucking offensive. Because of course they do, they're fashion designers, or dog breeders, or spec ops or something, I ain't got no fucking idea. All I know is they drop into a lake and survive, somehow, because tanks are invincible or something, I don't know, and they decide to drive off and set up their new fashion brand or whatever. Then Jessica Biel calls up the fashion designer looking for modelling work or something, and then she figures, I'll just go see if I can get a job with that rich Iraqi fashion designer or something. And it turns out he's in Berlin in Germany, and so like Jessica Biel goes there looking for work. But you'll never guess where our boys have decided to go ahead and set up their fashion empire. That's right, fucking Berlin. And Bradley Cooper tells her she can't work as a model because she looks too much like a lion or whatever, and that really pisses Jessica Biel off, so she slaps the shit out of him. Then we cut to the rich Iraqi and all the fashion designers, but unlucky for him, he's only gone ahead and started doing business in Berlin, which is exactly where our boys have set themselves up. And like, after deciding to go into the fashion industry themselves, our boys decide to go into it like a bunch of fucking psychopaths. I mean, they're not fucking around. They smash up this motherfucker's meeting and snatch up the rival Iraqi fashion designer in like what's got to be the most aggressive business practices the fashion industry has ever seen. I mean, these guys aren't playing by the rules, you know. And if you work in the fashion industry, you might be thinking, I've seen some pretty aggressive business practices. Oh yeah? Have you ever seen anyone smash in through a skyscraper window and then throw someone out the fucking building to get caught by a helicopter? No, I didn't fucking think so. Anyway, these guys snatch up the rival Iraqi fashion designer, and then they fight over trying to get their hands on his new designs or something, but the one fashion designer we saw from earlier is like, nah, I ain't gonna take none of this shit. And he goes fucking nuts, shooting the shit out of half the city, acting like Batman, until someone's dad turns up and Wile E. Coyotes him with the car like a fucking cartoon again. But that just pisses the fashion designer off even more, and he keeps on shooting shit like a knobhead until Jessica Biel turns up and tells him to pack it the fuck in. So like then it cuts back over to our boys and they're hiding out somewhere with the Iraqi fashion designer, and like they're obviously gonna kill him because, you know, he's Iraqi and he's a fashion designer and he's working their pitch, so yeah, he's a dead man. But like they can't figure out the best way to actually go ahead and do it or whatever, and they think about just shooting him in the head with a gun, but then they think, nah, fuck it, let's call in an airstrike and blow this motherfucker to kingdom come. And that's exactly what they do, because one thing you can say about Overkill is it always gets the job done. So now with the rich Iraqi fashion guy out of the picture, Jessica Biel goes and works for our guys in the new fashion house or whatever, which really pisses the other fashion designers off, and they want to do something about it, but what they don't know is our boys like a little bit of hyper-aggressive overkill when it comes to dealing with their business situations. So our boys go all out. They figure out where all of the other fashion designers' next shipments of all their new clothes and shit have been delivered, and they turn up to jack what they want, and they just fucking nuke the rest of it. Just blow it all the fuck up, and they even sink the ship that all the cargo came on. Because overkill ain't overkill unless you've gone too far. Anyway, then the cops turn up, and guess what? That's right. Just like before, our guys are all shocked and surprised when they get arrested for blowing a fucking cargo tanker up in a city dock. And they all get sent to jail again, and that's the end of the movie. It's amazing. It's amazing in all kinds of ways I can't even begin to tell you. Oh wait, hold on, I just had the opportunity to... Oh shit. Oh well, fuck it. It's a pretty good movie, and I'd give it a strong 10 out of 10, stupid fucking movie.